Oh!
There we go.
Although that's a very weak blow. That, like, whatever this is, very weak.
You need rotation in the shoulder and in the arm to get the energy you need.
Getting hit by a heavy cavalry person is kind of like getting hit by a car, and also the car is stabbing you.
Having that full plate's bad enough. Having a full plate with sword and shield when you yourself only have that two-handed weapon, that is a challenge. My name is Andrew Hall, and I am a HEMA practitioner. I've also had the privilege over the past year or so to start teaching as well.
My name is Paul Suda, and I've been practicing HEMA for 15 years and riding horses for 13 years.
HEMA itself stands for Historical European Martial Arts. It is essentially the practice of taking the weapons you see from movies, television, video games, the longsword, the dagger, pole axes, rapier, and looking at old manuals from as late as 1880 and earlier through the beginning of the medieval era, perhaps even sooner, and how those weapons were actually used for duels, for self-defense, for battle, to unfortunately kill their people. Today we are here to react to gameplay footage, starting with The Witcher 3. I am very excited. I poured way too many hours into this game. I love it.
Is it like super gory?
It's plenty gory enough.
Right. Limbs flying.
Yes! Oh, armor's pretty good actually. Colorful, but it's functional. The short shoulder thing, that there's some historical basis for it.
It's impossible to drop in that position.
Especially given something that's a blade of 3 feet long.
But here's the problem. There's no squire following you around carrying your crap, so it's like if you have to walk around by yourself, you know, like where's your stuff?
Yeah, you have it over your shoulder. If you have to use it, you just fling it back down to a more reasonable draw position.
Here we go.
And, yep.
That should be one hit. No,
that's a one-hit kill.
There's no such thing as that guy being alive right now.
Nope. And...
Okay, 2 hits.
See, that's better. Ooh, look, there's a head.
Oh, no. That guy would be dead the first time he passes. Instant kill.
Even if he's not immediately dead, he's gonna be injured to the point where he can't fight. If you're having multiple broken ribs, you're having a hard time breathing, one busted arm, fight's done.
The horse multiplies whatever horrible, mean thing you're trying to do to somebody. Getting hit by a heavy cavalry person is kind of like getting hit by a car, and also the car is stabbing you. You could also have your horse fall down and you roll over and get your pelvis crushed and then you die. So it's like, it's a trade-off. It's like, yes, you're more dangerous, but you're also in more danger. Ooh, little spinning stuff. Okay, hey, that actually wasn't too bad.
The footwork's pretty good. Spinning around, showing your back to your opponent, wouldn't be doing that because you want to give him a chance to stab you. I mean, short of that, I mean, attacking that quickly in that many directions, that is legitimate.
Okay, he hops back. That's cool. That's cool though. I like how they flanked him. That was cool.
Yep, big tell. He parries and
goes. That wasn't too bad.
And you go for the gap in the armor. You can bang your sword against hard plate all day. It's not going to damage the person behind it. You need to go for where the gaps in armor are. That's the neck. That's the elbows. That's the knees. That's the groin.
Pommel strike. That's cool.
Pommel strike followed up by a big blow from above. Again, after having
spin town. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Although that's a very weak blow. That, like, whatever this is, very weak.
You need rotation in the shoulder and in the arm to get the energy you need.
Oh, I guess like curve sword, that's cool.
Long method or a
falchion or whatever?
Yeah. For those that don't know, when we say method, that refers to what the Germans call a long method. Truly translates to long knife, which is think of it as a German machete.
Well, it's like, it's illegal to own swords if you're not a noble. Okay, this is a giant knife.
One-on-one is bad enough. Having to deal with 2 or more people at the same time, that's a nightmare.
That's how you deal with 6 people. Magic.
Yeah, that's otherwise how you deal with 6 people, 2 of them with a big pole axe.
Oh!
Yep.
Okay, that's correct. He got killed by 6 people. That's the right thing that happens with 6 people fighting you. He's fighting like 12 people now. Get out of there. Don't be in this fight.
First step is to survive, then you write the poetry.
Don't even fight 2 people, kids. Fight like 1 person or just don't fight anybody.
And also remember,
surrender.
Twirling around the whirlwind just means you're gonna reveal your back to everyone at least once or twice. Sorry, Geralt, you're awesome, you're badass. You would have been dead 3 minutes ago. Not that I don't like you, man, but fight 20 to 1 is gonna be a slaughter. There are some manuals in the West and in the East that give tactics of how to fight multiple opponents.
Yeah, the Montante. Yeah, right, the Montante?
Yeah. That's one example. One of the best ones is fight them in a setting where they're forced to come at you 1 at a time. Like those steps would be a reasonable place.
That's a pretty good spot to stay.
They can come at you no more than 2 or 3 abreast. That's better than being surrounded.
Oh, but a dog. Just like a dog.
Yeah.
When fencing a dog, be careful, folks. Fun facts. Dogs are rough to fence with. No dogs were hurt during the making of fencing this. Killing horses, totally wrong. Killing dogs, totally fine.
John Wick now has you on his list.
Jeez, yeah. Oh, man.
And if you're going to charge someone, you don't want to be up right here. This is a very obvious sort of, here's where the blow's coming.
Yeah, please
And-
cut my arm off. Oh!
There we go.
Okay, that was cool.
Yep. There's some more. Yep, and...
Oh! And a roll. Comment roll. Comment roll. Rolling.
Yeah, that
Rolling.
roll, there's no point for that
Ooh,
roll.
that-
There is no advantage to ever rolling around. Is there an advantage to controlling the distance between you and your opponent? Absolutely. But there are far better ways of doing that. You have these things called legs and feet. Use those.
Even though you should be able to roll around your armor, like, armor bites are real. You know, your armor can, like, pinch you, it can clock you in the head.
Yep.
Like, the armor can bang you up if
Yep.
you're doing things like that. And
Absolutely.
If you don't have to, that's silly.
There's always a trade-off with armor. Yes, you're more protected, but you're carrying a lot more weight.
Yeah.
When you have that visor on, you're almost like this. So imagine trying to fight for your life when you have very limited visibility.
Yeah. If you want to see, breathe, or move, armor's rough. That-
Although one thing I will say that is relatively accurate is not all of them have the same weapon, not all of them have the same armor.
I like
some
that.
are more armored than others. Some have clubs, some have
Yeah.
almost like falchions or messers, some have swords. There was no unified army for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years in Europe.
Yeah,
so
there's no standard
if you
issue
were-
anything.
So if you were called to fight, you brought what you had. If you were a knight, you had better weapons and armor.
Games are pretty good about this.
Yeah, games are pretty good about it. This trope's more common in television and movies. Swords were nowhere near as common as you would think.
Spears. The spear.
Again,
Most popular weapon of all time.
Think of efficiency. What is simpler to make, easier to train, and to get good at?
I want to stab you, but I don't want to be next to you while I'm stabbing you.
I want to be 6 feet away from you
While I'm stabbing you.
and have a reach advantage. The same axe you would use to cut down a tree, I could easily put onto someone's head or shoulder or neck. Axes were very common. A lot of the weapons that you would see were first started as tools and then either doubled as weapons or then later on just
Yeah,
modified
like
to be a better weapon.
Farming flails or whatever.
Flail that was meant for
Scythes.
threshing wheat. Daggers and knives are really important. Everyone had one. And keep in mind, when we say knife or dagger, I'm not talking about this dinky little thing. If I'm looking at my forearm here, the length of my hand is the grip. The length of my forearm is the blade. This is my utility knife. I'm using it to whittle wood, cut things open, or shank someone if I have to.
Well, if it's a rondelle dagger, it's just for killing people.
Yeah.
It doesn't cut anything. It's just a spike with a triangular,
With a
profile.
triangular tip and two circles on either
You can't
side.
sew the wound closed after someone gets stabbed with it.
It's actually where the term cloak and dagger came from because people eventually realized that if you had a triangular shaped blade, when you stabbed into them and you pulled out, the wound channel was much harder to close and therefore led to more internal bleeding and the blood stayed inside the body, not outside. So if I'm using you, for example, I can literally have a cloak right here, stab, walk away, and while you're falling down to the ground,
No
you're
one sees.
bleeding.
Yeah.
Very, very little blood to see, and you're bleeding a lot, and it's all bleeding inside. The poleaxe actually was surprisingly common. Even a spear.
I'm assuming it's cheaper than a sword, yeah?
Yes, the sword needs specific metallurgy to have the sword be able to keep an edge and
Jesus.
yet flexible enough.
He's swinging it wide and he's poking wide. He's staying at that wide distance.
You-
Fair enough, but like the smart play would be attack, hook, and then use the haft to throw the person.
Yes, in using polearm, it is very common to use some part of it to hook a leg, hook a shoulder, hook the back of the neck, hook some part of the armor, and trip them. Someone who's on their back is not going to move away from you and is far easier to kill.
I'll diddle you with your own tinkling.
Now, this is interesting.
It's like almost like a Roman gladiator looking dude.
Yeah,
I like the shield.
having that full plate's bad enough. Having a full plate with sword and shield when you yourself only have that two-handed weapon, that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Even a beginner realizes I can use one thing to just attack you, one thing to just
Protect.
protect.
And again, the two-handed sword, it's an evolution of you have good enough armor, you don't need a shield.
Shields-
You can now
yeah.
have two hands on a sword.
Shields were simple, but they worked, and they kept you safe from arrows until you got close. That's why you had them. If you like this, we have other videos. Feel free to come back and join us on the Gameology Facebook and YouTube channel.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, like this video and leave positive comments and no negative comments, please.
We certainly had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
we had a lot of fun watching people get murdered.
Oh, please come back and join us.
Yes, yes.
Ooh, and how far do you think that head flew? And
He got really on the dogs. It's like, no, not the dogs.
not the dogs. We had a bone, a dagger.
Sorry to interrupt you. The dog died, and I was very upset about that.